Hello everyone and welcome back to another episode of Pokemon Editing, where today we are going to continue where we left off, going through all Pokemon 1 through 3, or Generation 1 through 3, changing typings, making stronger abilities, and increasing stats, so that essentially all Pokemon are viable in a base ROM of Pokemon Fire Red. I am using Gen 3 tools. You can check out the tools that I've listed below that I'm using for all my changes for this ROM. But without further ado, let's continue off where we left off, which was Murkrow. If you want to see that, you all can check it out, but already done Slowking, but that's part of Generation 1. Let's move on to Misdreavous. So Misdreavous is also one of those cases where I actually didn't change it's what do you say? I didn't essentially give it Mismagius's stats because Mismagius had 495 stats, and I felt like doing that for all Pokemon that evolve in Gen 4 was a little bit lame. So I thought make Misdreavous kind of like a little bit offensive. Ghost typing. Wait, Ghost is all physical. That's right. No, wait. I remember my logic here. We changed Gengar to be Ghost Poison is normal typing, but has really high attack stat instead of special attack. I wanted Misdreavous to be essentially the same thing, but instead of that, I said, let's give Misdreavous a whole bunch of coverage, and we'll give it very high special attack stat. Because Ghost is very good defensively, in terms of you're only weak to Ghost and Dark, and then having essentially a giant move pool of all special moves that you can abuse with your very high special attack stat. So looking at that, it's also only a one-stage evolution, so you have to give it bad moves early on: Confusion, Astonish, Feint Attack, Shadow Sneak. But then at 30, you can start really throwing some moves at it with Psychic, Ice Beam, Pain Split, Perish Song, and Thunderbolt. Bolt Beam obviously being very, very good. Now, it doesn't get like an incredibly strong stab Ghost move, but that was kind of the point of making it all special attacking and not really ghost typing. So it is ghost typing, but it also doesn't have a very strong ghost stab with it. So yeah, that was essentially my concept with Misdreavous. Moving forward, we have Unown, which I'm very happy about the changes that I've done. You always think of Unown as like this really bad Pokemon, and it is really, really bad. But the thing is that Hidden Power is such a unique move of you never really know what it's going to just launch out at you. And so I decided to increase Unown's attack and special attack to 100 base. So even if you catch this Pokemon, you're like, okay, it's for sure boxable, but like Unown maybe just you could toss out early game and maybe get like a kill or two. So Levitate's not bad to get rid of your immune to ground type moves. Then you could just have a random Hidden Power, but no matter the typing, you're hitting with 100 base attack or special attack, which is very, very good. And that's essentially all I want to do with Unown is like maybe it stays in the turn and you know, it's not terrible. I will also just throw it 2 digits of speed, because why not? Let it hit base 50. Moving forward, we have Wobbuffet, Shadow Tag. Obviously Wobbuffet is Wobbuffet. This thing is put in Ubers in Gen 3 because it's so incredibly broken with Shadow Tag. I don't really think that I will let the like whoever's playing the game catch this. And in terms of trainers, I don't think it's very fun to just toss this on every trainer, so I think it would be very unique to just toss it on like maybe 1 or 2 trainers throughout the entire game, because it is very, very annoying with counter, Destiny Bound, Safeguard, Mirror Coat. And what Wobbuffet does is just live attacks, send the damage right back at you, or just dies and kills one of your Pokemon. So this Pokemon is not, it's extremely good, but it's not fun for like the same reasons of like why it's extremely good. So I left it how it is, but overall Wobbuffet does not need to be changed. It's already incredibly strong. Moving forward, we have Girafarig, who is normal psychic but has new abilities in Speed Boost and Trace. Speed Boost obviously helping Girafarig's lower speed stat, that's 85. Looking at its stats, I don't even know if I made any changes. Yeah, so it already hits 455, which is not bad because it already has decent special attack and attack, because its normal typing will be working off its attack stat, psychic typing working off its special attack stat. And obviously this is a single stage Pokemon, so you have to give it bad moves early on, but then eventually give it some coverage in Thunderfang, Calm Mind. Baton Mass I thought was pretty interesting in terms of like what Girafarig could do, but I think potentially this could be too strong for the whoever has it to abuse it, but I'm not sure. But then that will have to be tested. But then it learns Psychic and Crunch, so obviously it doesn't get a crazy normal type move. I was thinking about potentially adding Boom Burst into this game and making it one of Girafarig's signature moves, but I'm still definitely thinking about it. I could also toss this potentially Hyper Beam, but it would only be good for like NPCs. I'll have to look at it again, but moving forward, Pineco has Rough Skin now, evolves into Fortress. Tackle, Protect, Pin Missile, Bind, Leech Life, Spike, Self-Destruct, Bulldoze, and Explosion, evolving into Fortress at 31. Looking at Fortress, we have Clear Body as its new ability, which makes sense because it's Steel typing. Clear Body is just kind of one of those abilities that you kind of throw on any Pokemon that's Steel type just because it makes logical sense. But looking at its movesets, it gets Iron Head, Protect, X-Scissor, Explosion, Toxic, and Double Edge. Obviously Fortress is very stally, has a very high defense stat, already in the OU tier for Gen 3 and Gen 4, but knowing Spikes is really good to set up on the enemy team, and it doesn't really need to do anything besides set up Spikes. Maybe do a little bit of damage with X-Scissor and Iron Head, Toxic, maybe Protect, still out a little bit, oh excuse me, but it's very good defensively, only having I believe one weakness and Fire typing. But very good Pokemon, very strong defensively, does not need any major changes. Now, looking at Dunsparce, very hype. Dunsparce is now normal dragon with Serene Grace. Now, I did make a slight change to it. I think I did buff up its defense. Yeah, so it has 105 defense now, and obviously has normal dragon as its typing, which is pretty good defensively in terms of like what moves you resist. Dragon obviously weak to Ice and Dragon, and then normal weak to fighting. Oh, excuse me. So overall you're only weak to 3 typings. Serene Grace is also very good for the moves that it's learning, like Headbutt, chance to flinch, Dragon Breath, chance to paralyze, Body Slam, chance to paralyze, Drill Run. I think it doesn't work with crits. And then Meteor Mash, chance to increase attack. And then looking at its movesets, it gets Yawn very early, Glare, obviously signature of Dunsparce, very good. Roll Out, Headbutt, Dragon Breath for some Dragon Stab, Body Slam, Drill Run for some coverage, and then Slack Off and Meteor Mash for some coverage as well. And that is essentially Dunsparce. I think it'll be a lot stronger now because it is definitely more bulky. Even though it's not very offensive, it can be very stally and can help in that regard, and is very hard to break through. Now, moving forward with, not Steelix, Gligar. Gligar is another example of Pokemon that I didn't want to necessarily move it up to Gliscor, because Gligar already has a very unique typing in ground flying, but in this generation doesn't really get anything crazy for it. So I also increased Gligar's stats from special defense 65 to 85, and that's all essentially I went with, because ground flying is a very good typing. You're obviously immune to ground type moves. You're taking neutral from most stuff. Obviously your types 4 weak to ice, also weak to water, but overall it's not bad. You're also getting rid of flying's weakness in electric. So overall, ground flying is very good defensive typing, and that's why I just decided to make this another defensive Pokemon. You have a lot of offensive Pokemon that we've been creating so far, so it's never bad to have just a Pokemon that's pretty solid defensively. Looking at its movesets, obviously this is single stage evolution, so Wing Attack, Harden, Bulldoze, Quick Attack, and then hitting 30, you start to get really strong moves in Iron Head, Sludge Bomb, Aeroblast. I've just been tossing Aeroblast on any flying type that I like, so kind of like this as a move, and then Earthquake. And all these moves work well with only its attack stat, because its special attack stat is garbage. And I think we'll do one more. Snubbull. So we have Snubbull, who is just normal typing and has Intimidate, getting Tackle, Scary Face, Lick, Charm, Bite, Roar, then evolving at 23. And the cool thing about Gramble, which I love, but it never really became in the actual game itself, Gramble is now normal dark type, still with Intimidate. So Gramble has a very, very high attack stat. I believe I increased its special attack to 80, yeah. So it now has 80 special attack. And you always look at this thing and you're like, wow, if this thing crunched something, it would just do 1,000,000,000%. So that's why I was like, normal dark makes sense. It also has like that little chain around it that gives off kind of like the dark vibe. But looking at its moveset, it's getting Headbutt, Power Punch, Psychic Fangs, Taunt, Body Slam, Crunch, Bulk Up, Iron Head, and Head Smash. Obviously, any of these moves coming off that super high attack stat is going to do crazy amounts of damage. But also moves like Crunch and Psychic Fangs will still do decent damage with that 80 special attack stat. This is just one of those Pokemon that it's very, very slow, but it probably can take a hit or two and then can just launch back with a giant, strong attack. And yeah, I think that's it for today's episode. Thank you guys for watching. Make sure that you leave a like and subscribe, and I'll see you on the next one. Peace.